Hello and welcome to Public Conscience and the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society group with the mandate to promote good governance, participation and accountability in Nigeria. I'm Okiri Agbonsuremi and Abba Adaobi Obiabumo is riding here with me.
You're welcome to the program. On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. We are supported by the MacArthur Foundation.
And I want to appreciate the stand-up yesterday by Festus Keyamo, the Minister of State for Labour, relying on the provisions of the Constitution to stand on integrity. The fight against corruption in Nigeria must be open. You cannot begin to do selection and begin to do things behind the closed door. He insisted yesterday that whatever the National Assembly committee members want to do with the job creation that is on the line, he will want it to be open. That is integrity. And we salute him. Those who initially thought that, oh, why will a man like Keyamo go into this government? Why will he have a sound background of anti-corruption, accountability, go into this government? You now know why we need many of them in government. Today we'll be flagging off the celebration of women and men of integrity in the midst of the pervasive corruption in Nigeria as we count down to this year's pronouncement of the prestigious Integrity Icon Awards in Nigeria.
The Accountability Lab Nigeria narrowed down to the last 30 from the over 400 nominees from the public service made up of men and women who are standing up on a daily basis against corruption in the course of their duties.
And on Saturday, 9 judges, respectable women and men, professionals, civil society individuals who were given the stories and background information about the most outstanding 30 nominees, took a decision and came up with the best 5 civil servants, public servants who have excelled and are up to be scrutinized further to get the best amongst them. And we have 5 already picked up by these judges.
And in the studio, we have representatives of the Accountability Lab Nigeria, and they will tell us some of the intriguing stories of how these Nigerians have been resisting corruption in their workplaces.
We have Prince Chimaroke Chukwuka, communications lead, and project assistant talking about Nenga Shiwa, both of Accountability Lab, right here with us in the studios. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Adaobi, you remember that last year, a man who decided for himself to live upright in the midst of acute corruption, a police DPO, Francis Erabo, emerged the integrity icon who we celebrated to high heavens on this program. You need to stay with us on the program to hear firsthand the stories of this year's top 5 nominees. And we will ask you, who do you think should be crowned the winner from amongst them? I can tell you, it was not an easy decision by the judges. From about 800, over 800 that were nominated around Nigeria, 30 were picked. And these judges were asked to pick 5 from the 30. The stories are interesting. Indeed, when you listen to the stories of these individuals, cutting across health, cutting across the classroom, to the police, to the core civil service, you will understand that there are men and women in Nigeria who are standing up on a daily basis, fighting corruption at their individual levels. And they are not to be corrupted by money, by influence, or by anything. So when we say that Nigeria is corrupt, the Integrity Icon program is one that is showcasing all of us that indeed Nigerians are out there standing. And the reason we are showcasing them is for us to be encouraged so that we get some fillip from them on how to also live on our own, in our own little way, showing integrity.
Indeed, on a daily basis, there are Nigerians who are resisting corruption and they need to be celebrated. Remember that you can follow us on our social media platforms at Official Primorg. Primorg is spelled Primorg. We are streaming live on Facebook. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Primorg TV, to get reminders whenever we have a new post. And you can send your message to 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. This number is for messages only.
And you can continue to send us your message wherever you are listening to us, whether it's on our YouTube platform, you are listening to us at Primorg TV, whether it's on our Facebook platform, you are listening to us. It is very wonderful. We want to share those experiences with other people. And if it's on radio, you are listening anywhere in Nigeria where we are broadcasting, whether it's in Lagos, in the southeast, in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, or wherever you are listening to us, you need to just interact with us through this number 09022 656167. Very interesting stories of Nigerians. I want to put yourself in their shoes. If you were in their shoes, will you act the way they act? And the judges, I can tell you, because I have an authority to talk about it, the judges were not looking for persons who maybe just had a one-off integrity. Yes, it is good to see money, 3 million naira, 20 million naira on the ground, pick it up, and you look for the owner. That is wonderful. You can also have opportunity to be under pressure to take bribe, and you say, no, you are not going to take the bribe. This is also very wonderful. But if it is every day you are picking money up on the road, it's every day you are under pressure to receive bribe, then you resist it on a daily basis. Who will not say you are a champion? That is where if you are asked to go and do immunization, nobody is with you there. You can throw away all the bottles, fill up the paper, and come back and say you have immunized 200 people. Put the money in your pocket. Nobody is there with you. And you do it on a daily basis, on a yearly basis. You know that you are a champion. These are some of the stories. But our guests will tell the stories by themselves. Let's turn to them, and one after the other will ask all the questions. And that will be, let's fire up.
Prince Chimaroke,
Yes.
how many people were nominated this year and who did the nominations?
Okay, thank you so much. This year we have 800. We received 835 nominations across the nation, and we engage volunteers who work with us across different states. We also reach out to public servants within their unit to say, if you know any of your colleague who is doing the right thing, who is refusing to compromise standard, please point them out. Let us know so we can have them for this award.
This search is limited to the public service.
Yes, it is.
Now, you want to tell the listener that they want to know, because there are so many good guys, good women, men and women who are in the private sector who are also excelling. But why are you restricting this search for the best of amongst us to the public service?
So when we look at our national image, I think that the public servants are more like the ambassadors. They're more like the ones with whom a lot of people interact with for services whatsoever from different sectors. So they actually represent the Nigerian brand. They actually represent us as a people. So they are in the forefront, and we feel they should be celebrated. And now there is also the other path where there is a general perception that everybody within the public service is corrupt. And that is one of the narratives we're also trying to change, to say no, there are still good doers in the public service. There are still people who operate in the public service. And so that's one of the reasons why we focus more on the public service, not just the private, not the private sector at the moment.
Of course, Adabi, you know that when we are talking about corruption in Nigeria, we are not actually talking about corruption essentially in the private sector. We are looking at those people who have the responsibility to spend our money, our budgets. Public servants. They are the ones that actually direct the politicians on how to spend the money. It is, if you take a look at the budget, 10 trillion for the capital votes, for so many things that, you know, the executive, the ministries, department and agencies. It's not the private individuals that do this, it's the public servants.
The duty is on the public servants. That is why Nigerians would want to hold them to account at all time.
And that is why when they are excelling, we thumbs up for them and say, look, work well done. We have also conversed with the Accountability Lab to create a room for the private sector. Of course, last year during the celebration, some persons were invited from the private sector to come and have, even if it's just a handshake, to say you have done well. I remember a young guy who was having about equivalent of about $80,000 of Bitcoin put into his account mistakenly. And Bitcoin, those who are familiar with the cryptocurrency know that once money enters into your account, you don't know where it is coming from. But this guy spent days looking for the owner. They had a code with which he was looking on the social media all over the place. And before he got the person who matched what was sent to his account, equivalent of over 30 million naira was posted into his account by error. A young boy, a bachelor, somebody who needs the money. But he came out, and I was happy to see him at that celebration where he was roundly, applauded by everyone for giving out them. There were so many others who were there. But let me turn to my brother from Benue State. I like your name. Let's take a look at the top 5 nominees this year. Who are they?
Thank you so much. I think that's an interesting story. What has actually happened is just like what happened last year, where we begin to see crucial nominations or selections coming from sectors that before now nobody will imagine you could find a credible person coming from these areas. And one of such areas is from INEC, where we have a nominee strongly coming from the office of electoral body in the country. Maybe because they have not been fully unveiled now, we want to safely preserve their names until the time comes, where we can tell their stories. She was in the ICT unit, and according to the stories and the feelers we got, is one person who has consistently stood.
Can we know where the person was working? That is also important.
Yes, she was at the INEC headquarters.
INEC headquarters, ICT unit.
Yes, ICT
and I'm happy you say she.
I'm going to say that she. I'm so happy to hear that.
It's a she, and it's one person who has consistently stood against the culture of manipulating the INEC side just to favor political parties. Again, we have 2 nominees.
No, let's stay there first. We have not finished with
okay.
Because I think many people will not understand how elections are rigged. Many people think the elections are rigged at the polling unit. The elections are not rigged at the polling units.
Sure.
The polling units where people come and gather is just a point of the rigging actually begins after the polling. You have voted and you are home, and it goes to the INEC server. Why do you think that Russia is interested in the elections in the US through the server, through the internet? Because you can actually juggle figure out, change figures, and then that's what it gives to you. If you have somebody who is working in the ICT unit of INEC, and the story, I read it myself, I was almost close to tears. Politicians threatening her and telling her to do certain things, and she said she will not. She was in Kogi, and a lot of things happened in Kogi, and she stood her ground and insisted that she must do the appropriate thing.
Besides that, she equally has to back to her colleagues who felt that she denied them the opportunity to amass wealth. So it's actually a whole lot of battle that she has to fight. She has to fight her colleagues. She has to fight to withstand her ground in the face
and rejected money.
Rejected monies are all forms of juicy incentives that would have come along with it.
Have you done some background checks to see if this has been a pattern of this person in INEC? It's just that, is it just one off, or she has been doing this over the years?
Yeah, from what we found out, since the creation of that unit and her involvement with the election, she has maintained that standard, and she sees it as a way of life.
Okay, let's go to the second. The Accountability Lab just have a top of this from the judges. They are still going to subject it to vote. We'll get to those, but let's get to the second. Chimaroke, who is the second of the top 5?
Okay, I want to tell the story of one May. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Nearly spilled the bit. Okay, I will tell you of a certain associate professor who works with the Nasarawa State University. In fact, he has been a man of integrity.
That's
good. Also. So previously, he was working with the University of Maiduguri, and he had noticed some fishy activities within the department where he gets pressures from the registrar and other colleagues to give unmerited scores to students, upgrade people's degrees from maybe a third class to a second class upper and all of that. But
pressure from the top
management, on him, and he said, no, I cannot do this, I cannot do this. And they went behind him, and whichever way had it done, and he saw it and challenged them and said, why would you go ahead?
He wrote to the council.
He wrote to the council. He wrote a lot of petitions. As soon as he noticed he was not listened to, he put forward his resignation.
And left the university.
He was out of job for 9 years, was not deterred by that decision until he got an appointment at the Nasarawa State University.
Where he started the fight all over again.
Exactly. And he went there, he noticed the same thing, and still is opposing and resisting corruption and saying the right thing must be done. You don't have, nobody has to bend the rules for anybody. Nobody's too big to go through the process, and he still stands his ground. In fact, students now know him that he is a no. You don't go there. You have to study. Exactly. He will give you what you deserve, and all of that. And
that reminds me of Madeleine Igolo of Abuja, University of Abuja, who was one of your winners. Which year was that?
It is 2018.
2018, yes, and she stood out, and I had the cost to embrace her, and I just thought the anointing should just flow around. All right,
really amazing, man.
Okay, let's go to the next of the top 5.
Also a she.
Awesome.
Yeah, also a she. She has put in about 23 years in the service. And
where is this?
She works with College of Health and Technology, Yaba, Lagos.
In Lagos.
Yeah, she also have some outstanding stories. This is one person that during the Abacha's regime stood her ground when she was approached by a group that was supporting
the Abacha
era. And so they approached her. She was in charge of blood donation unit, and they wanted her to make a public declaration on a videotape, which will be played publicly.
To see that public servants are also supporting.
To actually say that those who donated blood donated in support of Abacha's
mutation.
Mutation. So she said no, she can't do that. So they approached her HOD, and the man tried to impress on her to accept the money and get the way of those who were supporting Abacha have their way. She said no as a matter of principle, and it is unethical for her to do such a thing. So she ignored the money, she ignored the threat, she ignored everything that came with that force. Besides that, she also works with the unit. While working in the same unit, she also turned down the offer of certain privileged persons who came in, and maybe after the delivery of their wives' relations, they are naturally supposed to donate blood.
Yes.
And some people will say, let's pay you. And then she will always tell them, if we're collecting money, then you will not have blood.
Because when you have somebody, you have to donate blood to keep for the next person. Yeah.
So she has been able to do this.
She's not selling the blood.
She's not selling the blood. So with this also, she received threats. There were threats upon her life. On several occasions, she was waylaid by those who thought by so doing
she was blocking their way.
They will cage her in to do the way of those who were coming after her. At one instance, one of the boys told her, now only you know they do with the others they do to her oga. And she said no, as far as what she insists on is the right thing, that's the way to go. So this is also another interesting personality that Nigerians will be interested to know about, and to know that we still have people who know the right thing to do and are actually standing their ground, insisting that those things are done, at least within the purview of their own jurisdiction.
Now, that was, you say it's a lady?
Yes, it's a lady.
Okay, I know that's very...
Let's go to the fourth person.
Okay, I would be...
I hope you will not mention the name.
No.
Because the next episode of the program, we are likely to have them on.
Yes. So, this person works with... Is a male? Just so people know.
Balanced, 2 male, 2 female.
He works with the Police Service Commission in Abuja, and holds, do I want to say the role?
Yes, maybe if that will give him away. Even we are not mentioning the name, we can actually tell the people exactly the pain that he went through. This was a man who, because I've read the story,
Yes.
who took the pain, confronted the authority over some bad things that were happening in that place. He was dismissed, sacked. He went to court for 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years out of job. Continue the story.
4 years out of job, and he refused to deter. In fact, he was approached many times to settle out of court and said no, he would insist that the right thing be done until he got.
What was the thing that he was actually fighting?
Okay, now while he was in service, there was a recruitment process which involved an officer who was receiving money from citizens, saying he was going to offer jobs and all of that, and he reported this, saying this is not correct, and the set of management at that point looked into the matter, found him guilty, and then dismissed him. And
because he was exposing the internal workings in his office.
But by the time that happened, a new commission came and brought back this said guilty officer and reinstated him. In fact, promoted him to become a high personnel within the ranks of the policing system. And he also said, "This is wrong," and then started the fight all over again, writing the authorities to say, this cannot be correct.
Yeah, because these people they have dirty leanings in that you cannot be giving them exalted positions and promoting them.
And then he fought and started writing petitions here and there. As soon as they noticed it was serious, they approached him and said, "What do you want? What do you can we settle out of court?" Because he was already going to court already, saying that they would not bend, and they were making offerings here and there. He refused, held his ground. At that point, he was they gang up against him and then took him out of the service. But he did not stop. Even with 4 years being out of job, he continued fighting until justice was served. As soon as justice was served, he was reinstated. His salaries were backdated,
and he was given the accelerated promotion that has missed.
All of the accelerated promotion. In fact, this is a very compelling story, because for a police officer or somebody within the police service, I mean, it's almost like a miracle sometimes.
It was also very risky.
Yes, also very risky.
He put his personal life on the line,
and then family.
Yes.
For all of that. So I mean, this.
And last year we had the police officer, a DPO, winning this. So if you think the Nigerian police is rotten, you need to hear this story.
Need to hear the story. I mean, in fact, I am so happy because this is the second year running. I mean, we're finding someone within the police service who is standing for the right thing and saying we will not compromise. We will build a Nigeria where people can be proud of. I mean,
and if the police is recruiting, it should be open to Nigerians. It should not be the one that will be selective and transparent.
Yes.
Let's get the last story before we open the phone, because I guess that those who are listening to us are actually eager to make contributions. They probably have a story to tell us. They probably want to make a contribution, because with the question we have asked them, of all this that we are telling them, who do you think should be the winner this year? Let's hear the last story.
Yeah, I think on a lighter note, before I leave here, I should be giving an ambassador for Women Affairs. But the past 2 persons I spoke about are women, and incidentally, the last one is also
a woman.
Yeah, so this 5th person is also from the health sector. She worked with the primary health care in Benue State at Ofaga. Now, she works with immunization unit. Now, what she found out when she was posted to that particular unit in that particular ward of Fakaga is that when monies are released for immunization, those at the top echelon in the management of primary health care in the state will divert this money. So at the end of the day, you have little or nothing to go out and carry out the immunization. So it was strange to her, and she decided that she would challenge the status quo. So the first year when the money came, she said, okay, let's put this money where it is actually supposed to be put in for the utilization and then for the good of the people. And those who were concerned said, no, this is not the way we do it here. So all the fights she put in could not yield anything. Now, her story is particularly interesting because these people who were responsible for diverting this money were men. And so they see her as just a woman challenging the authority. Indeed,
challenging the strength of our men.
but challenging their manly strength. And so it was to them an insult. So the second time she put up the same struggle, and the next thing was they robbed her house. That's a way to teach her a lesson. And the third time she stood her ground again. And so after all the
She was consistent.
So she wrote petitions, she wrote to the state authorities, she consulted her boss, her immediate superior, which is the HOD. And after all of that, the money came, and she was able to successfully put it to use, and people were happy. So this, according to the story, is for the first time that monies meant for immunization got to where they were supposed to go, and people were happy with the situation. So this is who the third person, that she is.
3 out of 5.
Don't mind that we are keeping the names. We are with Accountability Lab in this. Primog is a partner to them, and we are working with them. The names will be out. We have this September we are unveiling the winner. When
we're doing the unveiling in sometime in October, just the pre unveiling.
Okay.
And then the grand ceremony will be in December.
Now we are going to be with them. You will see the faces. It's a long year of celebration. We are going to be celebrating these icons. All of them are all winners, because you can come out of 830 something, and you come in the first 30, and then you are now also screened to come in the first 5. You are an icon on your own. But the public will, I guess, will decide who were the judges that picked out, and do they know each other, and do they know the nominees directly? Who were the judges?
Okay, so we had about 9 judges who were there to look at the top 30, and just to say before I go ahead, there were 30 really amazing stories. In fact, we feel how do I say this? We don't feel as justified to just pick only 5, because we feel, people should also get to hear the stories of the other 30. And
yes,
we're also putting out a plan to also unveil those stories via our social media channel, so that people, other Nigerians, can also get to read the stories. So I go straight to the judges. So we had, let me answer the first question, which said if the judges knew themselves.
Yes.
Well, I'm not exactly sure they did, because we had to go in different sectors and different areas of field of work to get these people together. We had people like Samuel Asimi from CISLAC. We had Bella Ann Ndubisi, who came in from the U.S. Embassy. We had Mr. Ogogo from the Owando PLC. We had Anne Ayonu from the Good Luck Ebele Foundation. We had Honorable Hanatu Mohammed, who is one of the board members with ICPC. We have your amazing self, Mr.
Just please mention my name. mention it. I will tell them my experiences.
Who is the executive director of Primog, and I think the other 2, I don't know.
No, this was
Okay, I think this were all of them. Yes.
Now,
So
I will tell you that I didn't. If I want to help you answer that first question, I didn't know any of those people.
Oh.
I don't know that. In fact, luckily, or do I say fortunately or unfortunately, the meeting we had to select these winners was a Zoom conference. We didn't even see our face.
Exactly.
It was a virtual thing, so we had the stories, and we reviewed that we came up with. So we didn't even have the opportunity of winking at each other.
Exactly.
All right. Tell me, what's the next stage? After we have gotten these nominees now, how will the winner eventually, the person who will be crowned the integrity icon, just as we saw a first of Serabo last year, how will this winner be picked?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Before I do that, let me quickly say this. There was a criteria for selection of these persons.
Yes.
So these judges were not just there to express their whims and caprices, or to express their prejudices upon these
There were criteria,
yeah. There was a criteria, and then essentially we're looking at the quality of the stories of these persons, and then another thing they consider was the extent of the effort that these people made in withstanding the challenge and having the right thing done. Again, there was emphasis on the extent to which these stories have been able to create an outcome or make an impact within the places that these people work. Having said that, now that the 5 has been selected, we want not just accountability lab, not just the judges who did the selection of the 5, but Nigerians to also cooperate in seeing who emerges the first.
So you are going to throw them open.
So we are going to throw it open. So
and say, look at the 5 stories.
The 5 stories. So
can you take a look at these 5 stories and decide on your own who do you think should be first?
So to do that, we are going to do a filming. We'll do a filming of these stories in form of a video documentary, and this will be shared on televisions and social media so that Nigerians could read and have an interface with these stories and then vote who they think should emerge as the.
Let everybody get the headache, because I got the headache of picking out
the 5.
Yeah, the 5.
So,
we got the headache because you read all the stories, you want to say, how do you judge this one from that? It was a very, very big. All of us confessed that look, it was it was a big task to say. You see that, and I can also reveal that the person you think, oh, let the person come third, you give a higher mark. Or your colleagues will say, no, that is not the person. This one should be the way. So we now gave marks that were added together, and then they found out on the average who was the highest. So nobody had the monopoly of saying this must be the person. So it was an interesting one. We need to engage our callers, those who are listening, who want to contribute to this program. Of course, we know you will be excited at home that we have Nigerians who are on the course of standing upright, standing right there where integrity is. Hello, thank you for joining us. Your name, where you are calling from, and then please go straight to the point. I know it's a difficult task. What do you say?
Yeah, my name is Folola from Abuja. My woman, or my sense of integrity is a woman that was kind of related during the career at Lagos University.
You want to tell us why?
Because after the military, her life was at stake. She could be killed. So it's such a thing.
Okay, thank you very much. We have one vote already, and we have one vote already. The woman in Lagos who stood our ground. If you were not around during this Abacha time, you will not understand what our caller has just said. Hello, thanks for joining us. Your name, where you are calling from?
My name is Loki, and I'm calling from Airport Road.
Yeah, you listen to all the stories. Which one interests you more?
Well, I didn't follow up, but I want to the one that was in case for almost 14 years, is it correct?
Okay, the one that was out of service for 9 years?
Yeah, for 9 years.
Okay, that's the professor from the University of
Nasarawa State University.
You is from Nasarawa State University.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a professor getting thumbs up there. It's not easy to lose a job for 9 years. Resign in the face. You resign your job and say because what you said should be corrected, they forced it on down your throat. You say you cannot work there. But some person said, why did he not stay inside there? He should have been staying inside there so that they can continue to defend it. Of course, supposing his life is actually at risk and they were already ready to sack him, what do you want him to do? Hello, thank you for joining us. Your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, I am Basil Moses. I live in Jaya, but right now I'm in Lukwe.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I listened to your program this morning. I love you so much. I always follow your program. What I want to contribute here is those people that have done creditably well, their names should be called. All their names, we know that they are mentioning names of other politicians that have been rooting our money. So let's know the names of those that have done well. They are our sisters and brothers. If you call my brother name, there should be nothing in my head. Yeah, that's my brother. Yes, if they call my sister name, I should be shouting. Call my name, don't be afraid. So that we others learn their lessons.
Okay, maybe before the program end, I'm going to see if we can. If we get 2 or more persons insisting that we call the name, I will force Prince to mention their names.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yes, I'll be glad.
Because I actually thought, I agree with that person, I actually thought if we have people who are performing well, we are not mentioning their name. What is the whole essence of? I understand the reason to keep it on the rap, but they're already the top 5. We eventually know them. Hello, your name?
My name is Doke, calling from Uche.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I fought for the woman.
There are 3. There are 3 women there. Which of them?
The one that the one that has killed the family and he still stand on his ground.
Okay, the one from Benue State, who that's the immunization woman.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to know her name? Okay. Okay, I'm kicking. Hello. Okay. I'm going to kick Prince here today. I don't guess everybody is anxious to know the names of the. Let's see. Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Your name and where you are calling from?
Patrick from Jabi.
Okay, Patrick from Jabi. Talk to us. You have listened to us.
Yeah, Uncle Ilya, in fact, the woman that acted under that Abacha's regime. How about get mine? Name should be mentioned. So I think they should be mentioned so that we'll be able to know, okay, this is the person, this is where the person is from. Because the stories have just been mind blowing. But that woman that acted under Abacha.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I can understand the feelings. Hello, you have been listening to our stories. Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Peter, calling from Gorimpa.
Now talk to us.
Okay, I work for the professor that actually tried to neglect all the professor from University of Maiduguri that is serving in Nasarawa.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to know his name? Do you want to know his name? Okay.
The reason people, because a lot of behaviors are being corrected in the school. So I think I would like to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have just 2 minutes to go. We can take 1 or 2 more calls, short ones, and then we can begin to wrap up. Hello. Your name, where you are calling from, and then you talk to us.
My name is Charles from Lubri.
Go ahead, Charles.
Let them message their name. These people, they are taking our money. They message their name so that we know them.
Okay. Those who steal money, we mention their names. So those who are also doing well, we should also mention their names.
Exactly, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will give a ruling and compel please to mention their name so that we begin to celebrate them. We thought we just keep the appetite on. I mean, we don't just want to whet your appetite with this information. Then you'll be anxiously looking forward to getting to know these people. Our last caller. Hello.
I'm sure you know how to put the rat, even and the rest of those people. And everybody knows whom Sergeant Rogers was. That woman in Lagos, my vote goes for that woman because at that time we know what was happening, and for her to have the guts to do such a thing. Everything is anything that can just shout.
All right. Thank you very much. And I am not going to compare Prince to mention their names. The reason I will not compare him is that they are still working. They are still going to these locations. They are still filming. They are still doing some groundwork. They don't want them to be intimidated in their offices. We don't want them to have a problem in their offices, because some of the stories actually touch on the integrity of their seniors. And when the time comes for us to mention their name, we would have done a great deal of job to protect and secure them before, so that we don't begin to see them sacked before they are given the award. I know that Prince was already scared now whether I'm going that was good to mention their names. We are very sorry that we will not be able to give you their names now, but we can tell you that in another 3 weeks' time, we'll come up with this program. We'll look at the other processes that are on. We also want to celebrate the remainder of the 30. These are just 5. We want to also pick like 5, 6 of them. We also to tell you what they did, how did they fall into this category of the best 30 of those who were nominated. They are intriguing stories. They are stories. If you are a judge, you will be confused who to give this award to, and I believe that is what is on. And we just have to go, but let me just hear from them. Just briefly, tell us your impressions and tell us what is lying ahead. Prince.
The next phase for this project will be the making of the films about these icons, this top 5, because we want to have these stories inspire other young people within the public service. And we are strong believers that we can build a network of good doers, a clique of champions in every public civil service space that will begin to influence others and begin to outnumber the clique of those who perpetuate corrupt practices. So I want to tell Nigerians to keep celebrating these people and keep supporting them, and together we can root out corruption within the public service. So that will be my closing remarks.
Yeah. Nenga Shua, let us hear from you.
As time progresses, we have a country where every individual, whether you are in the public service or you're in the private sector or you are just a citizen of yourself, you'll be able to do the right thing within your space, so that eventually we have the Nigeria of our dream. So let's keep celebrating those who for now are leading the battle.
All right. We want to appreciate Prince Chimaroke Chukwuka, communications lead, and Nenga Shua, a project assistant both of Accountability Lab. Public Conscience is supported by John T. and K3 D. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. You can get more information about the MacArthur Foundation by going to their website, macfound.org.
We want to encourage all of us to, on a daily basis, resist corruption. It's not easy, but we want to encourage you to do that. Please visit the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, primorg.org, to get all the information about Primorg. Join us again next week for another interesting edition of Public Conscience on Radio. I am Adaobi Obiabumo.
And I am Okiria Agbonsuremi. Stay on integrity, and remember that the coronavirus is also still around. Stay away from this lion that is ravaging. Let us be conscious of our environment. Let us stay on integrity. Let us promote a society where everyone has equal right to government resources. And again, I will end by saluting Festus Keyamo for standing on the Constitution to say the jobs, 774,000 of them that are available, must be given to Nigerians who don't know senators, who don't know House of Rep members, who don't know a governor. We must go down to the grassroots, use the traditional institution, use the teachers, the NUTW, that is National Road Workers Union, the drivers, to select those who will benefit from this program. It's just for 3 months, 20,000 naira each. Why will a senator be interested in that? You want to corner it, or the House member? We salute Festus Keyamo, and this is standing on integrity. I'm very, very proud that he's my friend. Join us next week for another episode of the program Public Conscience.